Hello, everybody. My name is Novi, and we are back with another AEW Dynamite pre-show live. It's been a great week. All out, coming off the heels of it. We're looking at a great Dynamite ahead. And today, we're joined by WrestleHook, who hosts a show before this on Tuesdays. I'm pretty sure. Yes, that's correct. Tuesdays. Hosts a wonderful show where he also talks scraps like we do here. So, WrestleHook, how you doing, pal?
Yeah, well, thank you for putting me over. I'm really happy to be here. Been a long time fan of Novi's content, and I thought, I wanted to get in the ring with some wrestling podcasting content. So it was really just a couple of months ago when I started a podcast with my buddy Gerard over on my channel. But it's just been a really fun time getting some good guests on. I had Novi on my show. We got to talk about All In a little bit before the show happened, and
Yeah.
there's a ton of wrestling conversational content, as Brainbuster put in the chat. So it's a great time to be talking wrestling, great time to be here. And yeah, I'm really excited for the show tonight too.
Yeah, it's a great time to talk wrestling. It's great to be talking here with you. I really enjoyed the appearance on the channel not too long ago. You guys should go check that out. It's a little outdated at this point, to be honest. Like if you're looking for all in preview, I don't know if anyone's really gonna be Googling that
No
too much.
predictions for All In anymore? I guess not.
Yeah,
You
well,
hear how
but
wrong I was.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, that would be fun because I know I was
Mhm.
wrong about a few things. But either way, leave a like on the stream if you guys haven't already. Leave some chats below. We're gonna answer everything as we always do on this program. We have super chats. If you're feeling generous and want to donate anything, I would very much appreciate it. It's never required, but always appreciated because YouTube keeps taking my damn checks. You
Mm.
guys fucking believe this? But we have a great show to cover tonight. Before the show went live, I should call Brendan out over here because I was called. I've made a lot of towns lately, as you guys know. Fans of the Late Night Grin would know. I've
Dude,
made a
Novi's
lot of
on
towns.
every single show out here. And
I am. I'm
I,
here everywhere. Me and Joe, we were on 4 different shows last week, so we're kind of locked in on this whole podcasting thing. But I got called a Sky Blue. I'm the Sky Blue
I
of
said
wrestling podcasting,
you're the Sky Blue 2023 of this wrestling conversational game.
which look, I get the broad point there. I get what we're going for, but to be compared to Sky Blue, it feels more of an attack. It feels more of
No.
a punch to the gut. I don't know what the hell that's for. She had a very interesting segment on All Out, and you
Hmm.
were at that show,
I
All Out.
was.
You were there live with your co-host. Talk a little bit about that. Tell us how that went.
Yeah, so the first thing that happened when I got there, actually, I was walking in,
Hmm.
and then I was walking past a guy in a suit, and I was like, "That's kind of weird." It's Mustafa Ali, so,
Oh,
so he's walking the other way. They're recording some kind of video. I
uh-huh.
was like, "All right, that's a good start to the show, I guess." I settled in for the pre-show. Saw the sky blue angle. That's really what I came for. Not really, I guess. But I mean, it's hard. It's hard for me to talk about the show without going right to the couple of murders that happened, right? Because
The pair of
there was a murder before the main event.
them.
It was a murder after the main event. And then Novi, I drove home that night back to
Hmm.
Michigan, Motor City. We'll get
Hmm.
into that. I'm on the ground here with the reporting.
Oh
Um,
shit.
but I drove back to Michigan, got home at 5 in the morning,
Hmm.
passed out, woke up at 1 o'clock, turned on my TV to Red Zone, and then I saw another murder because the first touchdown of the day was against the Panthers. And I was like, oh, poor Novi. And that was the
Look,
third
dude.
murder of the weekend. So sorry to
Look,
bring
dude.
it up. I was excited to talk ball a little bit, but here we are.
Look, man. This is a family show. I was gracious. We invited you on the show in kindness.
Mhm.
We've done some pods together, and the first thing you mention is the Carolina Panthers, which nobody should mention in this fucking chat. Fuck you, Brainbuster, for saying this. My team is not very good. Let me. You're a Michigan fan,
Listen. I
like a Lions.
I understand because I'm a lifelong Lions fan. So
Yeah.
when I bring up the Panthers, I don't do it to taunt because I get it, man. This is the first time we've ever been good ever.
Yeah. See, I
Um,
thought you would have understood these. You would have kind of understood that that's a little like hurtful. This is my feelings here. You've been through it already.
I have, but you got a young quarterback. Hopefully, he turns out. I really liked Bryce Young in the draft process, so I'm really rooting for the guy. But
I'm rooting for the guy. I'm a fan, but that man threw an interception with his first throw of the game. I
I know
can't. I don't know, man.
it
It's
was the
very
former Lion Will Harris as well. Fun fact.
yeah. Well, we're moving on swiftly from this. We're going straight to the top here. Ian Davis here every single week. Thank you, Ian. Hey Novi, hope everything is well. Everything is well. Hope everything is well with everybody in the chat today. Do you think there'll be any surprises in the gauntlet match? Me thinks Motor City. Um, Look, I think this match is going to be really fun. We might as well talk about it now at top of the show because
Hmm.
there, people can get in their predictions in the chat, whoever you guys think are going to be in this gauntlet. But this should be a really fun time. It's a very exciting style of match. We've seen it a couple times. We've never seen it with tag teams. So who knows what that'll look like? Who knows what their style will be? But I think if they're running this kind of match, we're doing a surprise. And there's a few names that are floated out there. Before I kind of spit out a few of the names that I'm thinking it could be, Brendan, who do you think it's going to be?
Yeah. The first one obviously that comes to mind is the Motor City Machine Guns. Seems like no one really knows what they're doing, so that was my first alert when this match was announced. I was like, "Oh, this could be the spot." Then,
Yeah.
um, today I kind of get more of the vibes because there was that Fightful report that AEW was in talks with the Hurt Syndicate.
Mm-hmm.
They could bring him in an angle like that. Now I don't know how I'd bring him in terms of like I might want to position Bobby as like the singles bringing him in. So in a tag team, it might be kind of I'm not sure if
Yeah.
you bring him in that spot, but that would be awesome, and I'm sure that would be a really really cool surprise. It made me think of a couple of years ago when Fightful put out a report. It was like it was like right before Dynamite, I believe, and it was saying like Saraya has had talks with AEW, and it was like or like and I was like, that was super random because like no one's
Yeah.
mentioned her in years, and then
Came
she
out of
came on the
nowhere.
show that night. So that's where my mind went. I know some other people have drawn some other similarities, like to
Mm-hmm.
other times when there's been reports the day of about conversations, but not further. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of leaning towards Hurt Syndicate, but really another thing I'm just thinking about is I'm hoping maybe there's some cool teams that are maybe two singles guys paired together just to
Yeah.
revitalize the tag division. But overall, I'm just pumped for this match because the other two were so good that if you're looking for a way to bring health to that division and kind of liven it up a little bit, I think this is just probably the perfect way to do it.
Yeah, it was. I remember the first match when it took place on where was that at? It was in their home place, Jacksonville, Daly's place,
Hmm.
and it was the one with Osprey, and it felt like all the big wrestlers were coming out, all the big stars were having it. It felt like an injection of life into just AEW as a whole, and the tag division desperately needs an injection of life. So if this is a way to do it, I think this is a really good way. I know we see some people guessing in the chat here. Um,
Hmm.
we have Boris, Boris Johnson, Rikishi and Scotty Too Hottie. I don't know. Could see it maybe. Um, Top Flight or Private Party should win the thing. I feel like they're both going to be in it. I feel like those two are the names I maybe would go to win it. I think more so Private Party than Top
Hmm.
Flight, but they could definitely be a couple names that are in there.
Yeah, I kind of think it partially depends who the surprise is because I think if it's the Motor City Machine Guns, I could see them wanting to get that right on Grand Slam. But
Yeah,
Grand
for
Slam
sure.
would be good anyway. So I mean, you could have a private party um, challenging, and I don't know that would be the spot where they'd win it, but that'd be a really good match to end of the show.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and Jed's kind of come with some crazy Bishamon of New Japan fame, the Golden Lovers. Now hold on, don't sleep on the Golden Lovers now.
Hmm.
Don't sleep on it. Hold on now.
That'd be sick.
Um,
Crazy.
Segura and Marufuji. I'm afraid that Marufuji can't jump, so I don't know how he'll get into the ring. The Hardys, of course, always always a shout of
Pop.
TNA fame. TMDK, Big Mike, and Haste. Hey, who knows? Who knows? But I think Nabs brings up a good point here that you mentioned. I wouldn't mind seeing Kyle O'Reilly and Orange Cassidy team up and win the whole thing. Obviously, they're a part of a stable. They're the conglomeration, the most productive
Hmm.
stable in AEW, if anyone's wondering. But that's one example of just two regular singles guys being paired in a team that would inject a lot of good life into this match. So I think something like that would work really well for me. I'd be down for it for sure.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like two guys you could pair together like that, and I think that's a good answer. It's a little tricky when you have a trios division like you do that like sometimes they just have an idea for them in the trios division, so they're not going to throw them in a tag gauntlet like this. But I bring all your best teams out of here. I don't care if they're competing for trio titles or not. This
Yeah.
could be really good.
I'd bring all the stars out. Maybe Tanahashi and Naito, Maybe Fraxium, bring all the big stars out, the Miracle Violence
Fraxium.
connection. Dude, Anjan's spamming these teams. You're just going down the tag team wrestlers list on Wiki right now. It's going crazy. We'll shoot back up to the top of the chat. We'll let you guys get in a few names here. Of course, we have to mention Big
Oh,
LG
Big
and
LG, yeah.
Anderson. Could be a different kind of machine gun in the tag.
True,
In the
but I
tag
think
match.
Big LG's got a date with Hank and Tank coming up from what I saw yesterday. So might be busy.
Hey, might be a little bit, occupied.
Yeah, they're taking the young kids to school.
Yeah, they gotta teach them how to run the ropes, teach them how to slow down. Come on now.
Exactly.
They had to teach Fraxium. They had to say, hey, slow down, kids. You gotta never stop. Come on now.
I enjoyed that match, to be honest, but it was I watched that on a grin along, so I feel like that always elevates it a little bit,
It does help a little bit. We'll go back up to the top of the chats for anybody that we missed going down and seeing all these tag team names. We have Nabs again. Unpopular opinion. I thought All In was better than All Out. I think in terms of like spectacle and feeling like the biggest show in the world, All In was definitely that. But if we're talking pure graps, pure in-ring wrestling, I think it was All Out for sure. It depends on what you're looking for,
Yeah, because during All In, I felt like pure bliss by the end. Like it was just, I was so motivated. I was so happy with the outcome, and then
Yeah.
at the end of All Out, I felt like the energy was crazy after that
Yeah.
chair shot. Like
It was wild.
I shrieked so like the people in front of me turned their heads because they wanted to check who just yelled like that because I've seen it described as like a gunshot to close the movie. I think that's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah, for
In the
sure.
arena.
That's super accurate. I felt like I needed to call my mom after All Out. After All In, I wanted to call my buddies, be like, "Hey, that was a great show, wasn't it, guys?" All Out, I just want to be like, "Mom, I need to like stay there tonight. I need to I need
Right.
you to
So like
bake me cookies or something, dude."
yeah, and I don't know how I would compare. It's hard to compare those shows because like the main event for All Out's not like a match. I can't really give a good star rating to it. I don't know how it competes with other matches on the card just
Yeah.
because it felt so different and unique that it's like its own thing. So I'll always remember like the feeling I had at that show more than I will for some like I was at All Out last year, which was a really good show, but I feel like
Yeah.
this one is going to stick with me just way more because of the ending.
Yeah, very, very true. I went to Revolution earlier this year, and I kind of understand that feeling of just like not wanting to go back. I went back and watched a lot of the matches on that show, and some of them I didn't like as much. And that was my lesson. I was like, don't
Yeah.
rewatch shows you went to live. Just appreciate what it was in the moment and call it a day. That's my new thing now.
It's hard. I want to go back and watch some of All Out. I've only seen like the clips from the biggest moments and stuff again. But yeah, I don't want to ruin the experience or like be like a little underwhelmed because I was at the Danielson and Ospreay match as well at Dynasty, and
Yeah. Wow.
I still haven't watched that because I don't want to.
No,
I don't
don't
want
do
to
that.
look at it, nitpick it and stuff.
It is as good as you remember it being, like watching it, but just don't touch it. You
Right.
experience something. You experience a transcendent match live. Don't even look at it. We have Nico always here. Shout out Nico. Hoping we get top flight in the gauntlet tonight for obvious reasons. Look, the gimmick is a little much for me at this point, but I do want to see them in this match because I think they'd add a lot of flavor to it.
Did you see their fits on the All Out pre-show? I thought it was a little bit better.
It was a little bit better, but then I saw someone compare it to Eric Rowan when he was in the Wyatt family, and I thought, okay, well, that's
Well, it was like they were going more for Top Gun than they had originally been.
A little bit.
First, it was like, oh, we're 5 flight attendants, and then or pilots and flight attendants. Now it was a little bit more like that, but yeah, maybe a little bit too much Eric Rowan vibes. Let's meet in the middle somewhere. I think they're onto something, but yeah, it just makes me laugh, which probably isn't ideal.
Yeah, I don't know about that, especially like what particularly made me laugh was Layla Gray doing her little like, go boys, go over the top rope. I'm like, that's a little too. You're taking it a step too far.
Hilarious.
It's funny, but I don't know if it's like good. It's
a
weird thing going on here.
Yeah.
Pajama Zam, Sky Blue is accurate. That's fucking crazy of you, honestly.
She got better.
She has gotten better. Maybe she'll. Oh, I'm very sad she's actually gone. To be honest, I kind of miss her a little bit. So, hopefully she comes back pretty soon. It looks like she will. And Gen PN, having either the Outrunners or Acclaimed or MXM win today will be the worst thing to have happened on this day. I think I would agree. There were some other significant happenings that happened on this day in the past, but I think if they're gonna put the Acclaimed in this match and have them win, I think it's probably a step too far for me. All three of those teams, fine teams. don't get him near those belts. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie to you. Not
I
for
think if the
now.
Outrunners won, it would be on levels with 2001.
It would be on the same kind of in the same area code. I
Yeah.
think is the best way to describe
Hmm.
it. We have the late night grin
Mm.
here in the chat. Finally, some real insight on here. Not like that douchebag guest from last week. Love WrestleHook. Hell of a show. It is a hell of a show, and we did have a certain individual on last week. He was very, I don't know. He was crazy on the show. I'm not gonna
Mm.
lie to you. He
That's
was.
that's insane. When I was looking at that, I was like, man, you had Joe last week. I'm coming on here. I thought I would make a tweet, something like, "How are you gonna follow that one?" But Dave already did it during All Out, and Willow and Chris decided that it didn't matter. So that's my goal is to be the Willow and Chris of this show.
There you go, Willow and Chris. That's shout out to Late Night Grin as well.
Hmm.
Because after this show, directly after the show, for Grin members, we'll be going live with an AEW Dynamite watch along. I'll be with the Graps podcast, who we always shout out on here, who said some disgusting things to me earlier here on
Oh,
the
come
screen.
on.
Brainbuster and Khalid, also Caden and Joe. So if you guys are looking for that sort of thing, Late Night Grin, join up on the
Mhm.
members tier. We're running a lot of shows lately. I am the Sky Blue of last year. Let's see here. Joe Hober pop. Oh my, yeah, he did. He does get the pops. That's for sure. Not too much on Bryce. Yeah, not too much on Bryce. He's still early on. Things
Mhm.
could change. But not too much on him so far. Nabs BCC heel turn was unexpected. It definitely was expected at some point, but not on that show. It did felt like if it felt real, like in the moment, crazy. I wonder what was that experience like watching it live, watching Bryan Danielson get murdered.
Yeah, I mean, once I saw Moxley and then everyone standing side by side, I kind of was like, "Oh, we might get something here."
Yeah.
And I was just so excited because I was kind of, I've been sick of the tweenerness of the BCC for the better part of the last couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wanted some stronger direction. But yeah, it was insane. It was insane to watch. I know a part of it that I really liked was the Wheeler Yuta detail of it, where they
Yeah.
didn't beat him down. But it was obvious. This is something that my co-host brought up to me. Was it was obvious that they couldn't tell him the plan, because if they told him the plan, he would go to Danielson. So, and it's a common thing you see in a movie, right? Like they can't tell the one guy that's too
Yeah.
empathetic, like their dirty plan,
He's
because
innocent in all
they know
this.
he'll snitch on him and they know he'll ruin it. So they had to like surprise him. They just held him over there, like Pac held him, and then they just let him go at the end. And like once the
Yeah.
damage was done, and it was so super good to me, super detailed. It was one of those things where after I was on the way back, I was like, I watched the clip, I heard JR's commentary, I was like, hell yeah, because that that definitely added to it as well. But
JR was on one with that commentary call. It was one of those moments where you think, "Oh, hold on now. He might still be in it."
he still sounds big time to me. I know, like
Yeah. He
those
has
those
his
days when he was
moments.
doing the full shows, like he was getting a little cranky, but
Yeah,
just bring
yeah.
him out when the big boys are out there, and you can make some good big moments with them.
Bring him out when his favorites are out there. That's
Yeah,
that's the big thing. He
and
loves
the
like
football players and
the football players, John Moxley. He's obsessed with
oh,
John Moxley. Yeah, bring him out with some of those guys. I think he rocks it. We have Nabs again with Top Flight Private Party Should Win. We actually went over that one. We have Good Job Marcus was there for the first Casino Gauntlet, and let me tell you, it was one hell of a way to watch Osprey wrestle live for the first time.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy spot. I think I might have him beat there because I watched Osprey live at Revolution.
Mm.
So him versus Big Takeshita, it got a little crazy in there, but that is a very special match. I think it's one of my favorites of the year, just like on TV, just for the novelty of it for the first time and all these big stars. And Osprey then showed up, which we didn't expect. I think that was a moment in time in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, Osprey was, especially in that second one, definitely a very big surprise to be in there and winning to make that challenge. I wonder, is there a way you can have Osprey in this match tonight? Is there a partner you'd put him with? And I don't think so, but
Let's keep him out. Let's
yeah. But
yeah.
he's definitely been one of those main parts of the first two that I love so much. So
Yeah, he was one of the big, like, the crowd goes crazy for him, all that good stuff. And speaking of Marcus, next week we have a guest booked for the AEW Dynamite pre-show. We're
that's
gonna be
big
joined
time.
by Wrestle Purist's own Good Job Marcus. Shout out Marcus. I hit him up on Twitter. We chatted grabs for like the rest of the day. So it's like it was pretty sick.
Hmm.
So yeah, if you're interested in that sort of thing, if you're a big fan of the Wrestle Purists, tap in next week. We'll be making some tweets about all that good stuff. Should be a good time. I'm really excited for it. Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and keep going through this chat. We gotta go down. There's a bunch of tag teams in here, so it gets a little crazy. Apollo, always nice to see you, Apollo. Um, we got Young Nabs again. Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor win and challenge the Young Bucks. I don't think I'd have them win, but if they were in the match, I wouldn't hate it. I
Yeah,
wouldn't hate it.
I'd like to see him in there. I was happy to see Shane Taylor back. Um, they were cool, and on the pre-show having Beast Mortals with them, it was
Yeah.
so random, but it was pretty sick. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, they're a good team. They had a lot of good moments on Collision when they had that stint where they were
Hmm.
on for like a month. They had a few good matches in there. So, yeah, I definitely agree. And GMPN, the woke libs will try to tell you Sammy versus Rico will be bad. Don't listen to the woke libs. That's right. We do not bend to the far right over here because Sammy Guevara versus Ricochet on this show. We'll get into it next. This should be a very fun match. I know people have their opinions on Sammy Guevara, and I get it. I understand. He's not for everybody. He's definitely anti a lot of like old school Graps fans. He's anti that style.
Hmm.
But I think as a TV wrestler, he usually delivers. He usually has good matches. And you throw him in there with Ricochet, who is known to be a high flyer. Obviously, didn't really do that last time he was on Dynamite. But if he taps into that bag here, this is a good pairing, a good matchup for him. I'm really looking forward to this one. Brendan, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm really excited for it because like you said, I hope this is more of a Ricochet match than the last one. Not that it was bad at all. It was still super cool to see him in the AEW ring, but yeah, I just have them go all out. These two obviously complement each other very well. Novi? What do you think about the way they brought Sammy back? Because it was very different than really anything else we've seen so far. They brought him back through ROH, and he was on a little bit of Collision before this. What did you think
Mhm.
about his whole the way he came back into the fold in AEW?
I think it was probably the smartest way to bring him back, just given, people have a lot of opinions about him, and he was not the best. Like he was not at his best last time he was on the show.
Hmm.
So to kind of bring him back in a smaller role where not as many people will see it, but people will see it, I think is a smart thing to do, especially to try to. He just needs to find himself at some point, right? Like away from Jericho, he's got to just find out what kind of wrestler he wants to be on as a singles guy, develop a character.
Hmm.
And I haven't hated anything he's done so far. I'm looking for this to kind of be a little bit of a swing upwards compared to what we've seen so far, but I've never been a Sammy Guevara hater, so
Yeah,
I was
I don't
fine.
want to get over dramatic, but I think it's a pretty important showing for him here in this match, but coming back,
Hmm.
just considering the way that he's been worked back into the fold, wrestling with Dustin a little bit. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think you're on the money there. I think it is a big spot for him. It's a big spot for Ricochet too. Last
Hmm.
week or not last week, but the week before that, he wrestled a SmackDown match pretty much, and I feel like that's not what a lot of people were expecting from him. I know there were people that popped at it. I know Joe was one of them. I kind of did, to be honest with you. Um,
It was funny, and it was pretty good.
yeah,
But it just wasn't what you're looking for because you'd think Ricochet's gonna have a showcase match. He's about to go crazy, and it wasn't that. So
yeah, for sure. I definitely felt like it was like you're in there with Kyle Fletcher. You're in there with he can do some good high flying
yeah.
stuff, but they worked a SmackDown match. It was a good match, but it wasn't what everybody wanted from him. I think this will be more of what people want from him because Sammy,
Hmm.
he's a high flyer. He goes a little crazy in there, and he always has. So this should be very fun. I'm looking forward to it. And we'll take it back to the chat here. Brainbuster of Graps Podcast fame. I'd like to see them hold off on using the gauntlet stipulation after this week. It really needs to be treated carefully so it doesn't become overused. I definitely agree, Brendan.
Hmm. Yeah, I think at some point you could even build more of a pay-per-view around this being the big match of the show. I don't know that they want to go into that territory of having a pay-per-view based on a gimmick kind of match, but if
Yeah.
they ever did, I think this is trademark AEW. This is the perfect match to showcase that. So yeah, I completely agree though. I don't want this to be overran, but I think just because it's the tag team aspect of it, it's still gonna feel fresh. And from that point on, completely agree with you.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat there because At first, when I saw it announced, I said, okay, we're doing this a little too much, but you're doing it with tag teams. It is different from the last, like, I think we've had three so far.
Hmm.
I definitely leave the stipulation to maybe even not be used till like All In, unless it's like a women's version. I could get down with that too. But on the men's stuff, this is a real AEW trademark thing that they've established themselves. Don't get too crazy with it. Let's have people like get excited for it when it comes around, not be like, ah, another one. Because if you do it too much, if you keep on going with it, that will happen eventually. So,
Yeah, I think
um,
you're better off at trying to like holding off enough to where people are starting to ask when is I feel like it's coming soon. They're starting to like
yeah,
hypothesize, is it going to be for All In? Is it going to be for Double or Nothing? Like when's it coming? So
yeah,
yeah.
I agree, and I don't really mind if it was like a maybe if it was like a TV special every year, maybe that would be
Hmm.
cool too.
Yeah.
Have an hour dedicated to it. Just look, dude, the Rumble works. So if we got our own version now, let's just do it, bro. Let's not get too crazy about it. It's fun. It's always fun, at least. So
I thought for a while they should just steal the Rumble because I was like,
yeah, me
just call it
too.
something else, just do it. Like
Yeah,
the countdown entrance, that formula works so well.
it's simple.
But they somehow like Tony figured out something better, or at least to me better, and
Yeah,
I'm a really big fan of it.
me too. Me too. I definitely would say it's like it definitely rivals it. I don't know about
Hmm.
see it better over
Well,
time.
that's the thing is there's only been a few, so it's hard to really compare. But just the idea that like
Can end
I
any
don't know,
time.
and the way it can finish, like that's the only thing that for Rumbles for me I just didn't always love was like the finish was usually a bit
Yeah,
underwhelming. It's hard to book a really cool Rumble finish when you have to just throw them out after. That's truly like out of nowhere. But this thing can just end whenever it can end after the second team. Like we know it's not, especially with the way that it's announced, but sometime they should do that. I think they
I
should do
agree.
that
I agree.
eventually.
Dude, just have two people in the ring and end it there. That would be like a real novelty. And they built stories around it before. People like not they were scheduled to be in it but didn't get in it because it ended
Hmm.
already. They did that with Roddy not too long ago. I'd love to see them use that again, but
Yeah.
like have like eight people be like, dude, I was supposed to be in this match. What the hell is this? And there's your challenger lineup. There you
Yeah,
go.
you can use it for other stories too. Like the Evo Uno segment made me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
Uh, poor
Hey
guy.
man. He encountered a demon. That was just
Yeah.
unfortunate. Not much you could do with that one.
Hmm.
But yeah, I definitely agree. Young Nabs again. Do you think Wheeler Yuta falls in line and stays with the BCC? This is a big, big decision for him. Like decision for the character in general. I'm a huge fan of Wheeler Yuta. I think he's fucking awesome. He's one of my favorite young wrestlers these days, to be very honest. And I would really like him to be either or. He's a really good heel worker, but I wouldn't mind him being Danielson's apprentice. I wouldn't mind him kind of sticking with that.
Yeah.
What do you think, honestly? I'm curious.
I think this is something that they'll try to lead to like a little bit longer of a story. I could be wrong, and tonight they could just have him aligned with Moxley, and I'd just look like
Yeah.
a jackass. But
He'll kill Danielson or something.
yeah, like they could do that. But I think it'd be an interesting dynamic if you have him, trying to be on Danielson's side, but he's still a trios champion.
Hmm.
So there's those dynamics at play, and I think that'd be really cool. One thing that I was thinking about too was I had a conversation with my co-host Gerard about this on the drive home because we had such a long drive. We were just talking graps the whole time. Um, During the Wheeler and Daniel Garcia little feud that they had, um, after that match, Daniel Garcia won, and you know Brian like went over and he comforted Wheeler a second, but he raised Garcia's hand. He was really happy to see Garcia win that match, and
Yeah.
I wonder if they use that a little bit as some character motivation to him feeling like you threw me out for DG, like you prefer DG over me, so like why would I follow you? Or
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, what the situation is with Daniel Garcia, but if they lock in that he's staying around and they start working on some creative for him, I think it'd be interesting for him to get involved in this and this to kind of be like their A story on the show. Like this is far more interesting to me than like some of like the EVP versus AEW
Yeah.
kind of. I think this thread is like I don't want to call
It's
it bloodline, but like if you're having the is he going to join here? Now there's all these dynamics. Like that's kind of the vibes of it, but the wrestlers are like so freaking good.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that could be pretty interesting. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I wouldn't mind them kind of just taking the EVP storyline but making it like actually good. just having
Yeah.
like, oh, we're not fighting for AEW, we're just fighting because fuck you guys. Like we
Hmm.
don't like you. You did these awful things. DG has already like, dude, he sent MJF on vacation. Like he's positioned at the top of the card. This is a top of the card feud. It looks likely that we're gonna get some the heads of these groups kind of colliding for the world title pretty soon.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. I think that's a great idea. I'm a big fan of that. We have Dare Rich. I'm excited for the Tag Team Casino Gauntlet match and what John Moxley and the BCC says tonight. Claudio Yuta versus Young Bucks was great at All Out. That was a really fun match. It was we were a little bit like it wasn't the match that we were locked in for because my audio or like my stream was about 15 seconds behind everybody
Oh.
on the watch along. So I
Yeah.
had to basically coordinate with 4 other people like, guys, can you please pause so we can sync up? It's like, all right, bro, like well, I guess we'll do it for you.
I
But
guess. Yeah. Everyone at home, as they're pausing, they're grinning along. They're
yeah,
they're
dude,
getting
there was a
ready.
dude who tweeted about like, "Oh, this is great. Like I'm sick right now. This is perfect for me." And he was watching the show and I basically replied to his tweet and I said, "I'm sorry about the second match. Like I apologize. That was a very I'm sure syncing was a hassle for you looking back on it, but that was a very fun show and I think that
Yeah.
was a good match. How'd you think of that in person?
I thought it was good. It was one that was like there was very little bad matches or matches I wasn't excited for on this card. So naturally, I think this was just going to be a little bit overlooked. And I don't think they went for like a solid match. They didn't go for the best match they could have, but all things considered, I thought it was really solid. I loved the build up to the swing. And the finish here was actually my favorite part of the match. I just thought it was
Oh,
really well done,
the
perfectly
finish,
executed.
perfect timing, perfect
Um,
timing.
and I love when they do it like that because if you don't have finishes like that with like the knees up, roll up, like then it's never going to be believable. But when you
Yeah,
can get it that perfectly, and Claudio, like I was like, oh, I watching it. I mean, you can see Claudio's in the ring, just starting to get pulled out. Like it
yeah.
was awesome. It was really
He,
cool, and yeah, it wasn't like my favorite match of the night or anything, and I probably won't ever think about it that much again after this week. But
yeah.
it was solid. It was a good get right match, and I thought the all in match was fine as well. Um, but I thought it was pretty solid.
Yeah, I was that finish was the only thing I'm gonna remember because it was just the timing was so
Yeah.
perfect, so perfect. So yeah, I definitely agree on that front. And speaking of timing, now's a great time. We might as well talk about it. You can leave a like on the stream. You can
Mm.
subscribe to the channel. It's we talk grab stuff on this channel. We have a new video out on Saturday at the usual 10 a.m. Eastern. This week we're going to talk about why hatred is so important to pro wrestling. So that was inspired by the show last weekend. I cannot lie to you guys.
It's not irony.
It's in the video. It's in the video. Now
Okay,
hold
I thought you
on.
were gonna say irony, but hatred's good.
Yeah, I mean some people would say irony. Some people get down with that sort of thing, but
Sure.
we'll talk about it in the video. It's all going to be on Saturday. So if you guys are looking out for that sort of thing, be on the watch. We have super chats on this stream as well. If you're feeling so gracious, send those in and we'll make sure to go over them in a little bit extra depth. Because you send a few dollars, you get a little bit extra depth. But yeah, this has been a great show so far, and we might as well continue it. This is a great way to continue. The guy from last week called me a fat bitch, kind of crazy. Well, you
Well,
know.
I heard about the audio, so I've been hearing lots about that lately.
Yeah, well, he's not much of an audio guy. It's
Hmm.
weird. Me and him will get into it tonight on the Grill. We'll chat
Sure.
about all
Yeah,
that.
I'll be there.
Let's see here. JA, who do you think will join John Mox's group? I say Eddie or Lee Moriarty. I don't think Eddie is reportedly not gonna be back till like mid-year next year, most likely.
Was it
He's like
torn ACL and was it everything? It was one of
it.
those like double tears or something.
I don't know. He was just fucked. He
Yeah,
just destroyed his
that's the
leg.
way to describe it. Yeah.
I wouldn't hate Lee Moriarty, but I think for now this seems to be the group. I think there's still a threat of Josh Barnett being in this group.
Threat is a good way to put it.
I think it's still a threat. I think there is
Hmm.
still a threat on the here comes the money guy, Mr. Shane O'Mac. I think he's still a threat. But I don't know. Who do you think?
That would be so. I mean, I was thinking that before the angle, but
Hmm.
now that it's like so much BCC with Mary Schaff, I just
Mary
feel like
Chef.
maybe it's like one addition to that. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't think Shane would fit though. I think that would maybe been more of a direction if it was like Mox, like Marina Shafir, and Josh Barnett were the only three, I would have
If
been a
that
little more
was the
scared.
three, I would have been terrified.
Yeah,
But
that's way
we're a
scary.
little better now. We're doing okay now. This is a
Hmm.
fun group. I like it. Just the
Yeah.
BCC remnants, cool with me. Um,
Yeah. Moxley
don't
looks incredible too. Like he's
oh
in crazy shape.
dude, he's like he's out there looking like a mid '90s dude from CMLL. Cannons over there. You saw that shirt was tight. I'm not gonna lie to
Yeah.
you, but he had cannons over there.
It's nuts, and just how uncomfortable he sounds, like, makes us feel on the mic. Like he's locked in. So
Dude, he looked cold when he was doing. Everybody on that group looked cold while they were
hmm
doing it. I think that was a really
yeah,
nice touch as well
there's like no
with that whole
emotion. And
angle.
then Wheeler like showing every stage of grief, just being held back.
Yeah,
Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
phenomenal angle. Polly Walnuts, what up? What's good?
Hmm.
Let's see here. And PN, who was also at All Out, who says the guy next to me at All Out kept booing the Dragon because he didn't sign an autograph for him one time. Well, that's kind of beef, though, to be fair.
Live wrestling shows can be funny like that.
They
Sometimes
can.
there's just one person that just changes your entire experience of a match. And I
Uh,
was pretty lucky this time. Nothing too crazy.
mm,
Um, yeah, nothing too crazy in my section. My section was pretty chill. So
thankfully, there was some. I went to Collision not too long ago, and we had a couple guys that were you could hear them throughout the entire arena that were just being loud during Rampage, or it was Dynamite
they're just
actually.
trying
I
to
went
pop
to
themselves and
just
get
popping
themselves over.
themselves, just doing their thing. It's like, come on, man, you get a
Yeah.
grip.
Well, especially last year when I was at All Out 2023, lots of weird guys in Jim Cornette shirts talking to the Young Bucks during their match. That I was like, it's uncomfortable for me to be here in between you and the ring. Like I don't want to be here anymore.
We can't. Can we please get somewhere else, please?
Yeah,
That is
scary.
not a place you want to be at a wrestling show. I'm gonna be quite
Mm-mm.
honest with you. Here it gets stinky around there too.
Oh man,
Um, Apollo JR is just sick. He very much is. Ian Davis, Kai Fletch mentioned. Big Marcus, shout out to him. Dare Rich, according to Cage Match, Sammy Guevara and Ricochet faced at Wrestle Circus, taking center stage in 2017 in Austin, Texas. This is not a match I would have ever seen. And I doubt a lot of people have seen it at all.
yeah. I saw
But
someone tweeted a link of the match today. I've never. I heard a couple things about Wrestle Circus this week, but this is actually the first I've ever heard of it. So
yeah, I've only heard of it like a few times.
it seems
Um,
infamous, like Tongaloa.
yeah, he is the infamous Tongaloa.
Hmm.
Dare Rich again. Is Claudio a better face or heel? I think there's merit to both, but personally, if you're watching over there in Shikara, dude's a real good heel. So I think I'm gonna lean heel, honestly, especially right now.
Yeah, because he can be a violent killer for the team, and he's not like the big promo guy in the group, obviously, but he's just like he's going to be a real good part of that group, leaning completely heel.
Mhm.
I've liked some of his babyface work, but I think this will be the most focused Claudio that we've had in AEW so far. So I'm excited for it.
I think so. I remember during the match with the Young Bucks, dude was missing on those uppercuts. So I need him. That'll be the tell for me. Is he hitting these uppercuts clean or is he missing them still?
Hmm.
That's my tell with he's locked in. It's a weird thing I've been noticing. That's gonna be
Interesting.
my personal thing. You'll see it if you ever watch that match back. You'll see it.
Yeah, you can't always tell in the arena, can you? Yeah,
No way you can.
yeah. Some of the same stuff in the Mercedes and Sheeta match were like complete whiffs, and I was oblivious to it because of the angle I was sitting watching the show. I was like, I don't know, looks all right.
Don't watch that match again. If you're oblivious to the misses, don't watch it. Don't watch it again.
Yeah.
You'll ruin
Well, there was
things
a
for
couple
yourself.
that I noticed, but I'll
Yeah.
leave it at that.
Poor Sheeta, bro. I'll never give up. I'm afraid I'll never give up on Sheeta.
And I was trying, like, my thing it shows is I when crowds are kind of dead for something, I really do try to, I'm the one in the crowd who like boom, boom, like trying to get the class of the babyface to get up, and
That's a real fan right
because
there.
I'm
That's
like, look,
real.
I'm rooting some matches, I'm too lost in who's winning and losing, but sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna will them to having a good match here, and I
Yeah.
tried. Is all I'm
Let's give
saying.
him some kind of energy out here. Give him something.
Yeah,
Um, Hell yeah. Young Naps again. Where do you think Ricochet's ceiling is in AEW? I think it's pretty high, depending on what kind of athlete he still is. But I think just judging by the kind of person in wrestling Ricochet is, where he's not, he'll kind of take anything and he'll just accept any kind of booking, any kind of spot he gets
yeah.
in AEW and just make the most of it. I think they probably won't push him to the top, but he'll definitely be, I think, a good hand is where I see him being right now.
Yeah, it's
maybe a champ.
interesting. Because you mentioned that, like, if he was wrestling on Rampage every week, he'd be happy to do it. He'd tweet everyone about it, saying, I love wrestling on anything. On Speed, he'd be the Speed champion. He'd be
Yep. You know how
the
many people are on
Shockwave
Twitter,
champion.
pal?
He'll do whatever. But I could see that being like a hindrance as far as where his place is on the card, just
Mm,
because it in AEW, guys that can come up with their own creative and have these like grand ideas, I think you're just a little more likely to thrive. Same
mm,
with like if you can cut a great promo off the top of your head, or you can come up with concepts that are really good, like
yeah.
you will be able to thrive because there's not as much of an emphasis on writers and writing promos and stuff as there is in WWE. And not that they don't have any, because they do now. But I think Ricochet's ceiling to me is like he'll be one that can challenge for a world title. He'll be right up there. I don't know that he ever wins it though, just because look at the locker room. There's a lot of guys that are, if you're trying to
Yeah.
map out like the next few world champs, like there's so many options. It's hard to pick him to be one of those right now. But we'll see. I mean, if he maybe a match with Will Ospreay will we'll
Shoot
put
him
him
up.
right in that spot again. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a chance. I think he's kind of, in a way, I feel like he's destined for one of those mid card belts, which I think is honestly a good spot for him. That's not even a criticism. That's like if he's wrestling every week, doing the things that we think he can do, I think that's a good spot for him. Maybe one day world champion, but as you said, bro, that locker room is just, it's
Yeah,
stacked. It's hard.
and if he's a world champ, like a mid card champion, he's going to be one of those that's going to be featured on all the pay per views. So to me,
Yeah.
that's, even if you want to compare, like, well, his spot's not much different than it was in WWE. If he's still a mid card champion, but he's on the pay per views and he's featured consistently in a spot that's like perfect for him,
Yeah.
I can't blame him. I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what it's going to be. I think tonight will be a pretty good tell.
Mhm.
Speaking of tonight, not long ago, Sammy Guevara was talked about as one of the four pillars of this company. It's a long time
Yeah.
since then. It's a long time. Lots more wrestlers have come in since Sammy Guevara was at the top of the cards, which is not necessarily a slight to Sammy, but it's just kind of a, it's a big. We were just talking about it. Locker room is big, full of big names.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's difficult.
If it's a different company by now, I mean, it's,
Yeah,
yeah, completely different.
completely different. Dare Rich, was Terry Funk the one that used the plastic bag on Ric Flair? Yes, he was, and that's also why I'm inspired by this Moxley direction, because he's doing Terry Funk spots. Hell yeah,
So,
he's not doing great. He's not doing MMA
true. So far, so far.
so
I want to
far.
see what it looks like in the ring. That's what I'm a little bit
Yeah, that's
hesitant to
big.
like be all in on it. But yeah, it's super sick. So
Yeah, I definitely agree. Dare Rich again. Do you think we'll see Willard Yuta tonight? I think we will in some capacity, especially
mhm.
because John Moxley's going to be live tonight. We kind of went over this so much, I won't even make it a big thing. But he is going to appear live. He's probably going to talk about why he did what he did. I'm interested to see where this goes. This is going to be the direction for, I think, until the end of the year, until we see a world title challenge. So this is going to be a big moment for him. I'm excited, looking forward to what he has to say.
Yeah, I always think that the way that they write this is funny because John Moxley live just makes
Yeah,
me think he's doing like stand up or something. I don't know. That's just like something in my head.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, looking forward to what this angle is this week. I hope we get a little bit of because they've been doing a good job of like leaving us crumbs of like not, they're giving us a little bit of the story, a little bit of the angle, but they want us to
hmm
keep thinking about what's going on. And I think that's something AEW could really benefit from continuing to do, is leaving us a little bit of room to hypothesize. I know, we already know what so many of the pay-per-views upcoming might look like, that you gotta be able to sprinkle some of that in
yeah.
as well. So
I definitely agree. It's looking like a good segment. And before we continue on with the chat, we have a super chat.
hmm.
Shout out Pajama Zam with the $2. Mercedes next feud / opponent. There's a lot of names that I have in mind, and a lot of them aren't from America. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with you, Brendan. Who are you thinking?
I don't know, for the next one, it's hard because I think you really have to nail it as far as having a really good match.
Yeah,
One that I want to see is Chris Statlander, especially coming off of that big match at All Out. But if you put me in a room and I see Chris Statlander and Mercedes, I'm gonna start hoping Statlander gets the win. So I don't know that you
Ooh.
do that right now. I think that actually could be the person that takes the. I think it'll be Willow taking it off of Mercedes.
Yeah, I think so
Um,
too.
but I think you should do a stat match. I don't know that it'll be right now though. Do you have any ideas of like people in the company, or is it just mostly
It's hard when it comes to people in the company because a lot of
Yeah.
people are just busy right now. A lot of like the big time stars are just busy. I'd love to see the Jamie Hayter match, but at that point, I want her to win it. Chris
Hmm.
Statlander, I want her to win it. You go back to the Willow feud. I don't think they do it. She just lost, but I'd
Yeah.
want her to win it. It's really
Yeah.
tough.
You could. I would like to see an Aminata match as well, but obviously different title picture right now. But I think that would
Yeah.
be one that I definitely want to see during the reign. Uh, Do you think we're gonna get a? I think. I mean, I know Soraya's contract thing is in the. I think I would not do that right now, just based off of the last few performances. I
Yeah.
would. I would at least give you a couple of good defenses first before you risk that one.
Mhm.
But I feel like that match is gonna happen.
It'll probably happen at some point. We see a couple people in the chat. Brainbuster said Queen Aminata. I'd love to see that
Yeah.
match. I think you can do that at any time, and it'd be really, really
Hmm.
fun. If there's any like broad thing I want to say to this too, I'd like it to be let's kind of tease the direction being Athena pretty soon. I want to
Mm.
see Athena on the show. I want to see her teasing this match. I want it to be built up. It is a huge, huge match. I promise it will be one of the best matches on whatever year it's in. That's the main like long-term direction I want to see for it. So
Yeah.
that's one of the names that comes to mind immediately for me in terms of long-term stuff.
Yeah, I'd love to see Athena in either title picture at some point this year. I rarely get to catch any like ROH on regular TV, and same with
Mm,
I think I'm able to watch most pay-per-views, but
mm.
I'd love to see Athena more. One thing I'm super excited for is actually I'm going to be going to Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling because it's going to
Oh
be about an hour
baby.
drive from me, so I just got to show my passport, get over the border real quick. Um, but we got
That's gonna be
Athena.
a
We got two
blast.
Takeshita matches. I'm like, this is
Back to
the best
back to
$30 I've ever
Keshta.
spent. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, that's beast. Scott Demore. He's kind of cooking up there. He's kind of cooking.
Yeah.
Speedball doesn't have a match yet. I think Speedball is wrestling. He's wrestling
Hmm.
Takesh on one of them, but he should have another one. I hope. Um, so there's a lot of big names on that card. It should be a really fun one. The indie show that I'm going to coming soon in October on the 13th is Deadlock.
Oh,
They're running an
that's
arena show for
right.
the first time. So that should be hopefully they stack that card too. I'm hoping for some Roddy Strong minutes. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You'd think they have something in mind if they're doing that big of a show, right? Like I feel
Yeah,
pretty strong about that. So,
they already announced Kenta and Tanaka.
oh,
Those are like two. They're like they're old. They're a little
sure.
worn down, but they're big names. So I'm
Hmm.
looking forward to. Hopefully, Maple Leaf even announces some more big names.
Yeah.
Both shows in independent promotions looking good. That's two of them right there. At
Yeah, we
least,
might be back. I don't know.
well, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, if you get an AEW agreement, you might be back.
There you
I
go.
don't
Get
know.
some big AEW names on there.
Yeah.
Then you're looking promising.
Hmm.
Dare Rich again. Question for Novi and WrestleHook. Who is one wrestler you would like to see join John Moxley's new group? Um, it's tough because I really just like the group as is. I don't even
Yeah.
want to see anybody else. I think Lee Moriarty is a pretty good shout.
That was a really good one. When before the BCC angle again, people had been considering is Bob Lash. Is this going to be like because MMA vibes? If that
Mhm.
could be like a good fit, I think it could have. But also, I'm glad that they're separate entities, and I'm hoping that
Yeah.
I mean, they could be on a collision course as well, right? Like
Oh,
that would be a pretty sick matchup is if they get a little, some more talent in that Hurt Syndicate and
I
go up
also
against that
agree.
group.
Yeah, those are a couple of good names there. I think that could happen. I think honestly, I just like the group as is, so I wouldn't even
Yeah.
change anything. We have another one from Anjan. Can TK lock in and bring some juice into the elite storyline? I can't see my goats being slandered like this for the faults of the booker. Hey, I don't know,
Mm.
bro. The Young Bucks, they got that date clause. It might be on the Bucks. It might be on them.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't.
it needs
It,
it though.
it needs it. I would probably just stop doing a lot of the EVP like controlling the show kind of vibes and just lean more into some traditional wrestling feuds with them because I think you can still do that. Like they don't always commit to them having that power on the show, so I think
Mhm.
they can just kind of like limit that a little bit. Just have them go against baby faces. I don't know, but like for example, if they brought in the Motor City Machine Guns tonight and their beef was they came in and they said, "Hey, look, people have been wanting this for years, and this division's gone to shit, and we're here to
Mhm.
bring it back to its glory." Like that's a feud with the Bucks that's instantly money, and Okada seems to have someone that he could be wrestling maybe soon with
Yeah.
Takeshita. So I think you can get some momentum into them again. I just wouldn't really emphasize the whole like elite angle of it as much right now.
Yeah, the elite angle is rough, but I think the pieces in the elite, they're doing pretty good right now. And
Yeah.
speaking of pieces within the elite, we have a match. The TNT Championship is on the line. Jack Perry versus Lio Rush. This is an exciting name, exciting matchup. We're finally having Jack do title defenses, do matches on the show. I think that's what people have been begging for quite some time, myself included. And you put him in with Lio Rush, who, look, I think this is a great pairing. Lio Rush is
Yeah.
quick. He's always going to make the movement. I think Jack really did take a step up with the Danielson match this weekend. So I'm really looking forward to this match. Brendan, how you feeling?
Yeah, I think Jack's one of his biggest skills is that he can really get the heat from the crowd, play into the crowd. I was pretty high on the match at All Out. I thought there was some parts of it live were just frustrating, mostly like the
The
CM
run-in
Punk
was
chant
rough.
coming in from left and right, and
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
some of that stuff like wasn't really for me. But because yeah, half my time was like yelling, like shut up, to the people chanting
Shut the
CM
fuck
Punk.
up, pal.
And I'm just like, man, like, I get the Chicago aspect of it, but like
Yeah.
this in one of the last Danielson full-time run matches, I was like, I don't know, man. I would have just done a defense because I think Jack really had a good performance. But all that being
Mhm.
said, turned out to be pretty good. And this one here I'm super locked in for because like you said, Leo will do all the movement. All of his matches stand out to me. Like there's some guys that are,
Mhm.
those quicker, like high flyer type guys that they're pretty good, but a lot of them are one note a little bit. But Leo's not like that. Like Leo's to me always sticks out. It always has memorable spots and stuff. And Jack can really play into the crowd and kind of slow it back down and get the crowd engaged. So I'm hoping this is good. I hope this is really good.
Yeah, I hope it is too. I think it will be. I think this has a very high ceiling, just given what these two wrestlers are. Jack is a really good wrestler. Leo is a really good wrestler. That's a good pairing right there to me.
Mm-hmm.
Give this some time on the show. I think we're looking at something pretty good. So yeah, this should be a fun one. And might as well head back to the chat. And we have another banger to head back on to. Brian, who is the Timu Holbert? Look, brother, you can go through Twitter at any point in time and see a Timu Holbert. It's just they're
Yeah, you
out
just
there.
look for the wine glass emojis, like you know, lots of imitations out there. Is all I'll say.
Lots of imitation. Lots of people who spread around that wine.
Look, he's an influential figure in the space, so I get it. I get it.
Many are saying. Many are saying. Young Nabs again. What do you think about Marina Shafir as part of the BCC? I think it works for me. People are begging for Serena Deeb to be in forever because I feel like
Mm.
she was a good fit, but Marina is on that similar like style and worker of wrestler. So I think it's a good pairing. I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, I think Marina will just come kick you with her bare feet and be a pretty cool
Put you in
addition
a
to the group.
mother's milk.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be too many other like you're not going to get too many Marina singles matches out of it. Like it's
Yeah,
part of the
yeah.
main stories, but
Hmm.
just as a part of the group, I think it works pretty well.
I think so too. Dare Rich, Nigel McGuinness would be awesome in Moxley's group. I bet he was laughing when
Mm.
Danielson was getting attacked by a plastic bag. Was he on commentary for that? I'm not too sure if he was or not. I don't remember. You wouldn't know. You were
No,
there. So,
I couldn't tell you, but
but I think he would be pretty cool in the group. I don't
yeah.
think it'll happen. I think I'd rather him just eventually do a Danielson
Do
match
the
on his own.
singles. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
possible, but that's a really good, honestly, as far as like stylistic fit and motivation. That makes a lot of sense. You just have to, if it's possible.
Yeah, it would make sense either way. Sons and Shadows, always great to see Sons and Shadows, who did call that a few months ago. So maybe you guys
Hmm.
are onto something. Maybe you guys
Yeah,
are cooking
could
up.
be.
Anjan again, the Guinness World Records have officially recognized Kenny Omega as a GOAT. There is no debate now. If anyone disagrees, then cry. Valid. I'm not gonna lie. Valid.
Yeah.
Dare Rich, Bryce Remsburg had a rough night at All Out. Got attacked during the match by a Busaiku knee and then taken out by Marina Shafir. Yeah, he had a shiner on him. He got hit a few times. He took a few bumps there.
Yeah, rough night at the office for the guy, but yeah, that it did look kind of crazy that eye that he had afterwards.
Yeah, he got hit. He got rocked by that Busaiku. Um, we have Thomas. Always great to see Thomas, except he's being a gooner in my chat. So I don't know. This is a little interesting. Not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna say this, but you all can see what kind of timing he's on tonight. Always great to see you though, Thomas. Apollo later. Eddie Kingston said Claudio wasn't to be trusted. He has mentioned this just a couple times. A few times. He said.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Some people are. I've seen some clips, but it could be AI.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Suns and Shadows. Sammy gonna have to work twice as hard going forward. Yeah, I think so too. He's got a good bit to make up for in a lot of people's minds, and it'll be hard, but he's a good wrestler, man. He could do it. He could.
He could. It's always when he's a baby face, he'll rubs. There's just something that feels off as far as his personality, but that's just the way he is, and he's going to be
Yeah.
abrasive, and there's going to be people that just don't like him for who he is, and it's fine. But yeah, I think the character is the thing that he really needs to start nailing. Right? It's like, who is
Yeah.
he
Who
in
the
the
hell
ring?
is
Who is
Sammy
he as a
Guevara? He likes
person?
Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
All
like
right,
why do I
bro.
like him? Like just he's got the Wolverine fit on. Brian Cage has the Wolverine fit on. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Come on, man. I was a
Yeah.
little. One of the late night grin regulars made a tweet. Contrarian Alex, I think he
Mm.
tweeted about it. He said, "All these fucking losers doing comic book references." And I'm never a person who hates on the geekiness of wrestlers and stuff like that. But
The
as soon as I
cosplays of it all.
the cosplays, I don't mind seeing a few comic book references. But I saw those two motherfuckers standing there as Wolverine. We had a goddamn problem. That was a little too far for me. We took it a step too far, pal. We got to
Yeah.
coordinate these things. At least be like Deadpool or something. But then
What?
Dustin was fucking Deadpool, so I don't
That's
know.
that's the thing is Deadpool, Wolverine, and a Wolverine. So, and at least
Yeah,
in the movie there was multiple Deadpools. This time there's multiple Wolverines. So I don't know. Maybe it's meta.
maybe we just don't get it.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe we have Dare Rich again giving out some Mercedes feuds. Maiko Satomura or Sari against Mercedes. I don't think we're getting the Satomura match. She's signed and she's gonna retire soon.
Yeah.
Sari versus Mercedes. Hold on,
No.
Sariism 6. It need a card. Come on.
Now that you mentioned it, like I'm just gonna be
Mm,
thinking about that all night. That'd be insane.
that's guaranteed banger. Guaranteed. Stat is likely going against Tony. Yeah, I
Hmm.
could see it. I could see it. I think Tony might be going away for a little bit longer than that, but
Well,
that could be an interesting direction for
I'm
him.
curious about that because seems like there's been a lot of times lately where we think someone's written off and then they come back a little bit. Like even within the Tony and Mariah thing, right? She came back the next week.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering how long some of these people are going to be truly written off for. Like I was thinking about that with Tony. I was thinking about that with Swerve. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I have a good gauge on it. What would you do with particularly with Swerve? Like when would you try to bring him back?
I would wait a decent amount of time. I would definitely wait a good while because if you bring him back too soon, then he has to go after Hangman, at least in some sense.
Yeah.
So I'd definitely give him some time off. Dude's probably destroyed after a match like that, anyways. So yeah, I'd probably wait at least a few months, maybe bring him back towards the end of the year, maybe at World's End or something like that. I think that'd be a cool shout for him. I'd
Yeah.
probably go that far. Tony, I think will probably be back within the next couple weeks.
Yeah. I think you're right about that. I wondered with Wrestle Dream, like with the location of it,
Tacoma, yeah, I could
yeah, do
see
you?
it. Yeah,
But like you said, I think this for the storyline, if it's better if he comes back a little bit later. But I could see
yeah.
him being like, we got to get him on this show. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they'll do.
Yeah, I think another good like point to it as well is like this Moxley angle with Danielson. That's going to be the main part of the show for quite some time. And if
Hmm.
Swerve is back, he's going to take that main character role. That's just the kind of wrestler he is.
Yeah.
So I think leaving him off while this kind of develops and does its thing, I think is a smart decision. We have Nabs again, Mercedes versus Anna Jay of Stardom fame. Anna
Oh
Jay.
yeah.
I wouldn't hate that match, honestly. I'm like low key an Anna Jay fan. Like we keep it quiet. I don't really tell many people about it, but I root for her, bro.
Well,
She did her thing over there in the Grand Prix.
that's what I heard. I heard good things about her. I haven't gotten to see any of those matches, but I think that could be a good one. I definitely more of a TV match there than a pay per view one. But
Oh
if you're
yeah.
looking for some TV matches for Mercedes that she can just win and move on from, I think that's a good one.
Yeah, I also agree. Give her a TV match with Emi Sakura.
Mm,
Ooh, it sounds like a good fucking match. Emmy is
yeah.
really, really good. That has the potential to be like her standout match. Kind of like it was for just came back. Haters title reign. She had
Yeah,
that really
that's
good
right.
match with Emmy Sakura. I feel like that could be on that same kind of level. Let's
Yeah, I was
see
thinking
here.
about Jamie's direction too. What I guess after that they get to that Saraya match, what do you think that they're going to be doing with that?
I think she's got to chase a title, right? I feel like she's got to chase Mariah. I don't think Mariah is going to be holding that belt for too long, is what I'll say. I think Jamie is
Feels like
just
that. Yeah.
she's locked in too right now, bro. She's locked in.
Mm-hmm. And
She's
it's
real good.
with the Mariah stuff. Like I can't tell if they just didn't really have something in mind for after the big final victory, or
Yeah.
if they are just kind of putting it off until after All Out, because I think that's also possible that they were just like, look, let's get through the next pay-per-view cycle, then we'll start the build to Mariah's next big opponent.
Hmm.
But sometimes, you have it built all the way to the big title win, and then you're like, oh, we'll figure it out from there, and then you kind of just don't. So I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I hope they figure something that's pretty interesting out for her, because I know that was one of your favorite stories. It was one of my favorite stories in AEW, and I
Hmm.
hope that they're able to continue some of that momentum with the reign itself.
Yeah, I very much agree. It has been a little spooky lately, but I think we're
Yeah.
getting on track. You give me an Aminata match, we're gonna get on track. And, I don't think we've talked about that match. That's the last one we'll talk about tonight, since that's the last thing announced. A world title eliminator match. Mariah May versus Queen Aminata. Obviously, this is a rematch from the match they had not too long ago. It was a big standout point in Mariah's early AEW appearances, because brother, these two women just rock each other. They hit hard. I think this match is super, super exciting. I know the Graps podcast, who have been on the show in comment form quite a bit, were big, big like proponents of this, and I have been as well. I'm looking forward to this one. How about you?
Were you there for their first one? I know someone was for
I
their first
wasn't
match.
there.
You weren't there. Their first match was really good to me, and I
Hmm.
was really impressed by it. I thought it was very fun. But like you said, they really just lay it in with each other, and I'm looking forward to seeing this like during the title reign. I was kind of hoping, I was wondering if this would be a one where they did the angle at All Out. They kind of built to it being a title defense.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you're looking to have a good opponent for Mariah, I've been wanting more Queen Aminata on the show, period.
Yeah.
And these two, they had good chemistry last time. I'm sure they're going to have it again. So I'm locked in for it. I'm excited.
Yeah, they're huge chemistry. Very, very, very good chemistry. And I'm hearing early reports. They have live show charisma. I don't know. I don't know about all that.
I
But
believe
I
so. I
know
believe so.
I know Brainbuster believes so, because he's got the January 3rd, 2024 match. That's when it happened, tatted on his chest. So look,
Mm,
brother, I think he's definitely locked in on that sort of thing. And Ian Davis says I think it was Mariah's first AEW match. I think you're probably right. I have a terrible memory.
yeah.
So
No, I'm so bad with that too. I'm like, I feel like I can't
yeah,
remember
I can't
when
remember
stuff happened.
anything.
Yeah. I don't
I'll
know.
believe Ian. He's good in this chat. He knows
Hmm.
his ball. He knows ball.
For sure.
Um, let's go down this chat here. Brainbuster again. Tanaka is still a fucking beast. He works like a psychopath, and that's got me a little more excited. I haven't watched the one with Takeshita, but I'm planning on watching it now, because
Mm.
I know I'm gonna see him, so I have to watch that at least. And I'll shout it out here for anyone that's in here. We're kind of winding down a little bit. The Late Night Grin has a poll on their channel for what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a retro watch along this weekend, and the show that has Tanaka and Mike Awesome is in this poll. Please, if you are a Late Night Grin member, vote for that fucking show, because that's the one I want to watch, and I will be on that show, and I need to watch that match. So please vote for that, and also join the Late Night Grin as a member, because I'm gonna be on that show here pretty soon. I'd say probably wrap this up. We'll wrap this up pretty soon. We'll get through these last chats here, and we'll hop out of here. But definitely go be a member in the Late Night Grin and catch the Dynamite watch along. So that should be a very fun time.
Yeah, it's always like really tempting when I see those polls. I'm like, which one do I want to make Novi watch? That's kind of funny, but I wanted you to watch a good match, so I always pick the good shows. But I know with the TV one, for example, I was like looking at some of the options. It was like an Alberto Del Rio match. I was like, what what's going on with the Grin? I want to pick this one so bad, but I
Yeah,
can't. I
yeah.
want the best for the Grin, so I got
I
I got
was
to
a
pick the best.
I was a big advocate for the SmackDown 6
Hmm.
vote, but that did not win. So I'm
Yeah, that's
really
what I voted
hoping that
for.
this one, that
Yeah,
Power Straw, let's go.
I know.
Hopefully this one wins. You guys can definitely check that out. We're gonna run through these last chats here, because I have a show coming up that we just talked about.
Hmm.
So let's go here. Young Nabs. We're gonna kind of speed run a little bit. In the long run, I could see Takeshita beating Okada for the belt. My theory is that Takeshita is going to win the C2 and then beat Okada for the belt. I think that's going to be at the not the Wrestle Kingdom show, but I think Wrestle Dream is what it's called. I think that's when that
Was it
match is
Wrestle
going to happen.
Dynasty?
Wrestle Dynasty. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestle Dream. I got pay-per-views on
Yeah, we
that.
already got that. We already got that coming up.
Yeah, Wrestle Dynasty. I think that's where it's going to happen. I think it's going to be through the C2 as well. What do you think?
Sorry,
You're good.
I was looking at the chat. I think they might have a match at the end of the C2. Like I could see Okada being in the gold group, Takeshita being in the blue league, and that being the final. But because I'm not sure if they announce where the final is going to be, or if they're gonna, because that could be where the final is, and just based on timing of it all, right? Because that's it's like a December kind of thing. So I could see that being the case, but if not, I think shortly after the tournaments where they do it.
Yeah, I think so too. We have Nabs again. Thank God we're not seeing Jericho on our screen that much as of late. Yes, thank God.
Yeah, sitting through All Out, I was just like, man, this is such a good show. But
yeah,
you go back to the TV, you'll get your Jerichos and stuff. I'm hoping there's not too much of him tonight, since there's not announced. But I could see him in the Big Bill in that tag match, unfortunately.
Big Bill and Brian Keith in the tag match.
Okay,
Hold on now.
You're moving
That's
me now.
good stuff.
Yeah. I like it now.
Yeah, we got the astronauts mentioned for the tag match. That would be cool. I don't think Tony's that much of a freak, but I would love to see it personally.
He would tweet that he did it for the sickos. He would post that.
He would definitely mention the sickos by name.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go down here. Let's see. Do you know about this? Oh, hold on. No. I don't know what I'm talking about. Enochiism, Tonyism, gonna sell out 1st of May Stadium in Pyongyang. Yes or no?
I'm not familiar.
Isn't Pyongyang is like not... We're not touching that. We're not touching that. Apollo the Leader, I have Aminata win. Hot take. Let it lead to a rematch. Make Aminata legit. That would be very cool. I wouldn't mind seeing her win in a match on Dynamite. She's very, very good. So... definitely a big fan of that. Brainbuster.
Actually, Anarchy Rules has Taz versus Mike Awesome versus Tanaka. Heat Wave 98 is the Awesome Tanaka match.
That was a good voice.
Loser.
That's pretty good.
A name I will never try to pronounce because I am far too white. Novi, what's good? Good to see you. It's been a little minute, but it's great to see you again. Ibu confirmed Hurt Syndicate coming soon. I think it's
feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel like everybody's kind of saying
that.
With
every hour, it's like more and more. Nudge. I think we're getting it.
It's getting closer. Ian Davis, Big Takeshita is a collider brother. Oh, that's real music right there. Have him on Collision.
Blue League, baby.
The Blue League. Blue League.
I'm representing the Blue League again this year. I love the C2 so much.
C2, so I'm so excited for it. Do you want to say this one?
No.
Yeah, we're not touching Jericho business. JA, any teams debuting tonight? We went over a couple of them. I think Motor City, maybe even Motor City mentioned. Yeah. I could see the Hurt Syndicate coming in.
Oh.
Definitely some names here, but Marcus comes through. We're gonna end the show off on this because why not? We got a Christian segment announced. Do you have anything on that? We can go. I'm gonna go find that real quick before we wrap this up.
It says we'll hear from the Patriarch, Christian Cage.
Okay, we're just gonna hear from him.
Yeah, we're gonna hear from the Patriarch, and it says, "Don't miss the man who holds the contract for a guaranteed world title match." Well, Novi, real quick, fire away. What do you think is gonna happen with this Christian world title match? Is he gonna win one? When is this gonna happen? What's going on?
I don't think he's gonna win it. It shouldn't have been a Money in the Bank thing. It should have just been announced. It really makes me upset that they're doing it like this. He's not gonna win it, but I'm really looking forward to it. I just want it to be an actual match. Between him
I thought that's what I was getting at All Out. I was like ready to go and
ready to rock and roll.
But
this it should be a fun segment. It's always a good time with Christian, and we'll wrap up here on Pajamas and Blue League equals Shockwave division. Dangerous game there. The Shockwave,
baby.
The Fox Shockwave. But this has been a great show. I've had a great time.
It was a really good time, man. I really enjoyed being on the show. You got a really great chat here, super active, so I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, you guys are always awesome. I appreciate you. Every single week, we see the same people always coming through. It makes me very, very happy to see you guys. Sometimes I say maybe they're not going to show up this week, but you guys always come through. You guys are always great. Thank you, Pajama Zan, for the super chat earlier tonight. And before we get out of here, before I do all my plugs, Brendan of WrestleHook, plug your show, pal.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, but at the top of the show, we started our show very recently. It's just a couple of months in. So right now we have a subscriber goal of 50. So if y'all would like to talk wrestling with us, our live chat's usually not too active. So if you put a chat in, we're probably going to talk about your comment for quite a while. So definitely come join us over there. I'd really appreciate any of y'all tuning in, interacting with us, stuff like that. But yeah, that's my only plug really is on YouTube. We usually go live Tuesday evenings right now around 8 o'clock. Lately NXT has been noteworthy for some reason, so sometimes we'll push it ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
But Tuesday is like the perfect spot for me because we got Thursday Night Football over there, and I got some plans over there. So Tuesdays is pretty much when we always go live and talk wrestling. So if you're interested, we talk AEW and WWE pretty consistently around the big pay-per-view stuff like that. So if you're a fan of either of those, that's what we'll be talking about. So
Yes, I highly recommend everybody in this chat to go subscribe over WrestleHook. They are linked in the description. Go follow them on Twitter. It's a fantastic show. I've been on it. Hopefully, maybe you'll see me on it again pretty soon. So definitely check that out. Tuesdays in the evening, unless 8 o'clock, unless NXT is beating their ass. So
true, like the CW business. I'm like, well, they're trying to put us out of business over here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they're trying to take that viewership. It's kind of crazy of them. I'm not gonna lie.
It's crazy.
We need to have you call Sean. Gotta hit him up. Be like, hey, buddy. Let's
I'll have a
stop.
conversation with them. Maybe I'll get Bret Hart on my side.
Hey, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, definitely go subscribe to WrestleHook. Also subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Leave a like on the stream. It's been a great time with all of you. And next week, just as a reminder, we saw him earlier. Just shout out Marcus for the announcement for the Christian segment. Next week, good job, Marcus, on this show. So get locked in for that. Be looking forward. We're gonna hog tie some people on that show, I'm sure. So definitely be on the lookout for that. It'll be here same time next week. So I'm excited to see you all come back. Hopefully everybody just doesn't quit watching this channel. That would be quite nice. And hopefully all of you start watching the WrestleHook because it's a great show over there. And it's been a great time. Brendan, I appreciate you coming on. Chat, thank you guys all for being here. You guys have been fantastic. Make sure to catch me on the Late Night Grin Dynamite watch along for the members tier. I forget which tier, but I think it's Grinner Gold tier. Make sure to subscribe to that so you catch me with a Dynamite watch along with the Graps Boys, Caden, and Joe Holbert himself. So yeah, hope you guys have a good one. Everybody enjoy Dynamite, and I'll see you all next week. Yeah, shout out to all of you. Much love to each and every one of you. Peace.